All right, so welcome to our sixth and final Reluctant Rewriter class of this term. I am so glad to be here with you all, and was just going over what we're looking at tonight, focusing on sometimes it might be helpful to look at whether the first and final paragraphs can be cut from a story. What happens when we do need to do that is that we might be over-explaining for the reader. For a children audience, we might be doing too much exposition or too much setup, where children can just jump into a story at any point. Then the final paragraph is, I'm often told that I don't need my final line on poetry. The final paragraph in prose can be similar because maybe we want to wrap it up with a nice little neat bow. And I do have an article that I wrote and presented at one of my writing classes about the merits and psychology of a happy ending. And not everybody wants a happy ending, because then we also can be somewhat formulaic. So I think that's one of the things that gives your short stories a lot of strength, Leslie, is that you don't have a formulaic ending. Not that I've seen in the two that you've shared. So we get to see your third one tonight, which is great. So what do you have planned for us there? I wonder if I should send Anne a quick message to see if she's having problems getting on or lost the link, or
Yes.
so re-message to Anne.
Or she nodded off. I set myself up so that
maybe, right? But Anne is on Pacific time, I'm pretty sure, so it's an hour earlier. And I have to shut down everything extra on my Mac here, so it's not going to run slow, except for pages until I show you that document. And I've got the whirling beach ball. For anyone who knows a Mac, that's like the whirling beach ball.
Oh, yes.
The waiting. And I don't want to shut down email yet because Anne might be contacting me through there. All right, so there now. And let's see. Oh, no. Okay, come on back. And no message there. Okay, this is really slow. I apologize. I should have eaten after class.
You must have been very hungry.
I was. I had fasted all day, so I didn't want to. I mean, I could try to convince myself after class to not eat it all till tomorrow and have a really good 24-hour autophagy fast. Because whenever you fast past 24 hours, autophagy, tightening up the skin and everything will take place.
Oh.
So
what kind of a fast?
Autophagy, where the cells and skin, it's the person who explains it best, because I can learn it enough to know that I want to do it, but I can't learn it enough to explain it. When it comes to like science, Dr. Mindy Pelz, Pelz on YouTube, has got fabulous resources, and it's just not typing. Why is it not typing? There it is. Now it's typing. Yeah. So yeah, she's got fabulous YouTubes and resources on all sorts of aspects. There you are. And okay, now, are you joining us? Okay, that feels better to have sent that. So now close that app, because I can see that one on my phone. Okay, while we're waiting, let's just go have a sneak peek at the document that I have with a whole bunch of grammar tips and everything. And it's not in any order yet, so I wanted to order it, put, apostrophes, the punctuation all in one place, and then, silly little grammar rules and homonyms and how do you tell the difference between what is what. So let's go share screen. And this. Okay. So it's not a conclusive list, but these are some of the things that occur to me that I struggled to learn, 20, 30 years ago and make my own information. And it was lovely when a university professor said to me, then with an E has to do with time, then has, and time has an E. So that was then. And it was then we had to go to the store and decide if this type of carrot was more healthy then, and the then with an A has an A, and so does comparison, and comparison doesn't have an E. So that is literally how I remember that one. So comparison, I haven't finished putting in the word comparison there, comparison. So if these little things help you make, like maybe none of you have a problem with then and then, but I did. Apostrophes for plurals and possessives. One of my authors recently had the apostrophe not there, but she had it here. And I went, so you have multiple husbands, correct? And we both had a good laugh about it, because when you have the apostrophe after the S on a noun that can be plural, that means that there are many husbands and it's the family of the many husbands. So then, to be totally correct, it's my husband's, but it wouldn't be my unless you're polygamous and Mormon possibly. But no, the husbands, they have wives, and the wives don't get to have multiple husbands. Sorry. But it could be correct if our husbands' families were strange, because then families is plural to go along with the husbands, and all of the wives are saying our husbands' families were strange. So then that would be correct. So I'm going to make this correct again here. And sometimes that trips people up as to where to put that pesky little apostrophe. And then if anyone has problems with the it's and it is, what does that dang apostrophe, what is that? What is that dang apostrophe doing in? See, I have to correct my own grammar here, people. What is that dang apostrophe doing in? It's, there, I'm, she's, he's, what's, who's, they've, we've. And then this is the other side of it. I'll tell you what it's doing. It is standing in for a missing letter or letters. So it's really easy to double check that in your writing. When you have a sentence like Sheila put the book back in its place on the shelf. That's correct, because its is a possessive. And if you notice, the they, their, their, doesn't have an apostrophe. It's the possessive, doesn't have an apostrophe. His book doesn't have an apostrophe. So the possessives do not need an apostrophe. But when the apostrophe is there, it's standing in for a missing consonant or a couple of letters type thing. And that should help with that one if anyone has problems with that. Onto and onto, the cat jumped onto the dresser, which is incorrect. The cat jumped onto the dresser. Onto is a preposition that means on top of or to position on. And so onto is two words. It's used when it's part of a verb phrase such as held on. I held on to the chains. I didn't hop on the chains. I held on to the chains while swinging. And I can skip most of these because you'll see them once I do that, but there versus there, apart versus apart. And this one I was really good to review for myself today, going, yes, this is a good review. Principal versus principal. Onto, I've got onto twice, so let's just take that out. See, actually, thank you. Affect versus affect. I have a strange way of remembering that. I have to put that in there yet. Everyday versus everyday. And the thing to help you there is to go each day. You substitute each day for every day, and that will tell you if you have the right one. Because each day isn't one word, it's always two words. So if each day works in your sentence, I get coffee each day before work, then this would be incorrect. So that will help. Who versus that, and punctuation, and what I promised about quotations and emphasis. So that's just about at the end of this. And then this was just some of our notes from one of our newsletters that I stuck in here to start gathering them.
Do you have that and which?
I do. Oh, I might be missing. Thank you, Kathleen.
I think it's there because I think I saw it too.
Yeah,
Because I never know.
There it is.
there it is. Here it is.
Can you go over that one?
Sure. So incorrect. No bags which are over 50 pounds will be permitted. That really doesn't sound correct to my ears. It's no bags that are over 50 pounds will be permitted. That is reserved for restrictive clauses. This is a harder one. I'll have to think of a better example of way to remember this for you than the clauses that are essential to the meaning of the sentence. So the clause that is essential to the meaning of the sentence is are over 50 pounds, like that 50 pounds will be permitted. That's essential. No bags that are over 50 pounds will be permitted. Because, and then when you're looking at clauses sometimes a restrictive is kind of like a dependent. It's waiting for something. Like 50 pounds will be permitted. Well, permitted where or what or how? Because it needs something else to finish the sentence, unless you've been part of the conversation before. So it's kind of dependent, kind of restrictive. No bags that are over, and it's like, what do you mean? No bags over what? So then again, we're waiting for something there. So that's kind of a clue too, but I'll try to think of a better example that will help you remember that one. Because I confess that sometimes I look at that one and go, that's just not a really great example of describing that. I think that's probably straight from one of my English, classes. And for me now, it's more of a hearing. I can hear that it's incorrect to say no bags which are over 50 pounds.
With that, usually with which,
Yeah.
isn't that phrase usually got commas on either side of it?
So
So that's it.
yeah,
That's why it's
tempted to put, but it's like no bags which are over, it's incomplete. So that's the difference between a dependent clause and an incomplete sentence, is that it's no bags which are over. It's dependent because it's waiting for something to come. But if you put a comma there, it would make a split infinitive before the clause. No bags are over.
if you put a comma, no bags, comma, which are over 50 pounds, comma, will be permitted.
Yeah, and if you do that, then what you're doing is you're setting off the internal clause which are over. So no bags 50 pounds would be permitted. As soon as you set up a little clause in between, whether it's like if it's got a subject, verb, and an object, or if it's got a subject and verb, or if it's got verbs, then you're missing the verb, then you're setting that off. No bags which are over 50 pounds. And usually there is a comma before which, and I think that they don't have that here at all because it's not there, and because which is incorrect. So I think that's what's getting you, Dorothy, is that which usually has a comma.
Yeah.
But because it's incorrect in the sentence, it's not correct to put a comma in no bags, comma, that are over 50 pounds. But you see, we don't even need that are. No bags over 50 pounds will be permitted. That would be a complete sentence as well.
I guess then that would be a key as to whether to use a which or that, whether it's kind of with a that, you don't need the comma, but with a which, you've got a clause in there that you want to hold out.
Right, but it's an incorrect clause. So the question about a comma
In
is,
this case, it's incorrect.
Yeah.
to
yeah,
use that
but in a
clause.
sentence that has which, so here you see, this is your correct example. My bedroom has a window. My bedroom, which is on the second floor, has a window. So that helps that there with the which has a comma because it's this internal clause. And if you take the internal clause out, the one that's set apart by the two commas on the other side of it, then you have a complete sentence. My bedroom has a window. It's extra information, which is on the second floor. And so the which is, telling people my bedroom, which is on the second floor, has a window.
Does it matter that we're only talking about one bedroom, so we can say which? It's only one bedroom, it's not a bunch of bags.
Well, if it was more than one bedroom, I'd wonder how many times you're cloned to have two bedrooms, the need for two bedrooms. But if it would be more than one bedroom, it would say our bedrooms, which are on the second floor, have windows.
Okay.
Yeah, so then you'd pluralize everything in there. Our bedrooms, which are on the second floor, have windows.
Okay.
Or our bedrooms, which are on the second floor, have a window each. That would be correct. But it wouldn't be any longer has, because have goes with the plural nouns.
Right.
Yeah. So I need to fix up a couple of these, make them a little bit clearer. But essentially, you will be able to parse when you get stuck or stumble on some of these. And so my question to you was, should I put these alphabetical by this, or should I group them with the words and then the punctuation? That's funny. I made a new word. But I think if you're going to use them, if you're not going to print it up and you're just going to use it on a computer, you can always search. Where's that which versus that? Where's that which and that? Because you could find them that way. So I will fix that
It's
up.
fine that way. I mean, for me, it is.
Okay. All right. Good. So then we'll leave this. I'll just neaten it up and get all of the incorrect and corrects in that I didn't quite get in, and then maybe massage some of those examples that don't thrill me either.
So do you have a lie and lay?
Oh, I avoided that one. I have it somewhere in an excellent example, and I have to put it in. Thank you for reminding.
I can tell you what it is probably.
Well,
Yeah,
yes, you
tell
probably
us.
can.
I
Lay,
keep learning it.
lay takes an object, whereas lie doesn't. Oh, look, Tom is laying there.
Object. And but you know, I had one university professor that was really funny, where she was telling all the I went back as a mature student, and there's all these 18, 9-year-olds in there, and she's what at the 45, 50, where teenagers think that we don't have a sex life anymore. And she said, this is how you tell the different how you use the verb laid. Is laid has to be used by the subject to do something to the object. I was laid by my boyfriend. So I was the subject. I was laid by my boyfriend is the object.
Is that spelled L-A-Y-E-D?
No, L-A-I-D.
L-A-I-D?
Yeah. And so I was going to put that in there, and I did forget. And you're saying that lay needs an object, Dorothy. Thank you very much for that reminder, because I knew that I didn't have that. So lay needs an object. And lie is present. I lie on the floor. It's just lie.
Right, it won't take an object.
Yeah,
Whereas
it's
lay, and then the way I used to teach it to remember is, oh, look, Tom is laying Mary.
that was laying there. Yeah, so that's good. So I'm going to put those examples in. Thank you for that other one. But the verb lie just bothers me. I will do anything to avoid using it because it doesn't sound right no matter what I do. So I will just cheat and find other ways to say what I mean.
Well, it was just, I don't know, maybe a few days ago, I was using it, and then I was sort of thinking, doesn't sound right now. No, that's right.
Thank you for that. That's very much appreciated. All right, so I'm going to quickly see if there's a message from Anne, and oh, I did close that. Oh, no, that's not from Anne. Okay, and I'll just check email really quickly to see if there's a message there from Anne. And we are recording, so that's good. She usually sends me something to put in the document. It's really sad that she's missing last night. Okay, let's check there. And all right. And I saw a message from, okay, I should put this, and then we'll get started rocking and rolling right away. So search. Okay. Oh, there is my piece for Wednesday night class. There it is, yesterday. Okay. Can I use this one, as it will likely be the opening for my book? If not, I understand. See you tomorrow. Okay, well, and it's a PDF, so we'll have to share that differently when we get there then. Okay. All right, so that I think I need to, and okay. So opening that so then I can close this, and then close that, and I'll come back and find the Google Doc for us. Okay. I think this is one that she already used, but maybe we didn't get through it all, because we did do There's Always a Build-Up. Okay, well, when she shows up, we can ask her. So there we go. Close that. And see if everything works now, and pages I can close for now. And then everything should work fine. I just wanted to keep that open for showing that document. All right, let's go find the Google Docs and let's launch into, and does anyone remember the order I had for tonight, or, and it doesn't really matter because we're here and nobody has to leave.
I'm here and I'm okay, so
Okay,
whatever you want.
All right, awesome. So that, and Reluctant Rewriter is right there. So
I can probably tell you the order if I go.
I closed that. I'm not too worried about where that is. I'm just going to make this bigger. So, and come back and share and rock and rolling. So that's about our usual timing to do all that introductory stuff and get going. Okay. So this is for March 9th. That was Tom. Well, seeing as we're landing on yours, let's go see where you got your in class 4, class 23rd. Did you put it there?
Yeah.
No, it's not there. It's up here, Bob.
Well, that's Kathleen. No, I put it in and I double checked it
Yeah,
a little while.
it's I believe you, but the way that I organized it is class 6, and then you'd put your piece of writing under class 6 because that was a heading. And so now I'm just right here, start here. That's March 2nd. It's a classic. No. So let's just go click on your name. This one.
Not that one. Keep going down.
Okay, going down. So March 2nd, it's a classic. That's cute.
March 9th. Keep going down.
Architect Pheromones, is that the new one?
No, keep going down.
Okay. I don't remember.
Oh,
I
that's
think
not there. I double checked it and I put it in twice. Okay.
So what is the key word in it, please?
It's the not knowing.
The not knowing. Okay, so let's go find the not knowing. The not knowing. And did it find it? It says 0. It's not, you know what? It could be because it could be my fault. This document is not refreshed. So it
Oh.
could be that. Let's just hang on a second here, and maybe it's that I did that. So control find. Not knowing. Did I spell it right? Not knowing. About midnight.
But that's not it.
And that's only, yeah, so it's not in here.
I don't understand because I put it in a few days ago. Then I double checked it earlier today,
Did I not spell not knowing? Can
and
you?
it said March 23rd.
Okay, well, let's look at March 23rd. That's going to be in there quite a bit, but let's go all the March 23rd. There's 13. Tree in me. Last 6 March 23rd.
That looks like.
There it is. How can
There it is.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
don't understand.
because I didn't put a hyphen in the not knowing. The find is very,
Oh.
that's why.
Oh.
I believe that you put it in there. I just knew that we had to get the right combination of getting it in there. So,
That's kind of crazy. Okay.
all right. So,
All right, so I have
Rusty,
two.
Just a sec. Rusty, can you make it bigger, please? Because I always read it. Because that's,
yeah, I can make it bigger. What I'll have to do is I'll just make the font bigger. So let's just do that. And let's see. Okay, here we are. So there. And don't look at the ending, people. Don't look at the ending. All right, let's see.
Well, I have. Okay.
Is that good, Dorothy?
yeah.
Okay, perfect. I'll go back to the beginning. Okay, Leslie, take us away with your lovely reading voice.
Okay. I also have a alternate ending which I put down there. If we have time, we can.
Okay.
Well, we'll see. The not knowing. The day began with profuse crying and an inability to eat. Her stomach was in knots as she let her mind ponder the conundrums. I love you, Mother, though you have passed to another dimension. To this day, I'm not sure what our connection is. When I think of the hell you went through, the abuse, and being whittled away at like somebody carving you into a fragile splinter, my heart opens up to you. I can't imagine going through that for anybody or for any reason. But when I remember your perplexing demands, your fickle guidance, the ridiculous choices that you offered me, keeping me always at an emotional loss, I don't know what I feel. It seemed as though you were quietly angry and vengeful toward me, but it was always with no provocation, devoid of explanation. Was this yet again the result of interference by my manipulative little sister, your youngest girl? Maybe she kept your feathers continually ruffled by making things up. Maybe she thought if your other children seemed lacking, that she would look so much better. I don't know. But as you got older, having gained a touch of senility and even schizophrenia, you made more sense. Though you had memories that had no basis in fact and knew people that you had absolutely no history with, no connection, complete strangers in fact, you smiled and laughed. A strange disease, that Alzheimer's. You showed spontaneity and happiness. How did you keep all that to yourself for so many decades? It took injury to make you human. One too many blows to the head from Daddy. Like a cartoon character, you sprang back more complete, with a full spectrum of expression. Or maybe it was a trade. What you couldn't do before, now you could, and what you could do before, now you couldn't. But I feel a strange love for you. Perhaps it's from a past life. Maybe you were my older sister and gave your life to save mine, and I pledged my love and devotion forever, no matter what. These were thoughts that went through Hannah's mind as she played through the difficult, no, impossible passage from the third movement of the Prokofiev Piano Concerto No. 3. Whenever she practiced, she thought of her mother and the impossible family dynamics that pushed her out the other side, into the world. Broken, of course. What else would she be? She wasn't allowed to have friends, and every plan she made for herself was overturned, undermined, laid waste by inexplicable lines of communication of which she was not privy. Though she was considered to be the favorite, a term frequently used and always in a mocking tone by her older sisters, she didn't feel treasured or loved. She was the outcast of her siblings and the central theme of every argument of their parents. But things had to be even worse than they were to keep her from the piano. The instrument had become an extension of her, soft and malleable. And she could feel an aura emit from herself and permeate the instrument, connecting them inseparably with the infinite. Doing the impossible was an everyday task for Hannah. Well, enough passage practice. Now it's time for the test. Time to play the entire movement from beginning to end. She spoke to nobody. She played the first few notes, then felt the surge of confidence through her veins. She heard the striking harmonies and felt her fingers surrender to the complex rhythms. She felt warmth in every part of her body as the blood itself danced inside the heart and the feet. And here it was. She was coming to that impossible passage, but it was child's play in context of all of the elements of musical texture. Then she neared the end, and at last, the final note. As she looked straight ahead at the music, reveling silently in her accomplishment, she heard enthusiastic applause from behind. Startled, she turned around. Mother? That was beautiful! How in God's name are you here? You left this life over 16 years ago. Well, I figured out a few things. A few things? Among other things, how to manifest here, like I am now, right in front of you. You figured that out? That's impressive. You could never figure out anything when you were here as my mother. Cute. A joke. Apologies, you caught me off guard. Any questions? Countless. The words and feelings poured out. First, why did you make me feel so helpless? Why couldn't you ever listen to me? Talking to you was like talking into the abyss. The words just dissipate into nothing. No response, no give, no support. Hannah closed her eyes as she recalled so many instances. Why? She demanded. She opened her eyes, wanting to glare straight into her mother's, but her mother was not there. She had disappeared. In her place was a flag. A white flag that hung gracefully from a wooden pole. It was small enough to balance on the wooden chair where her mother had been sitting. You can't surrender now, she thundered. I need answers. I need a lot of answers. Her voice was shrieking, uncontrolled. Stop doing this to me! She felt as though this was a continuation of the dynamics they had in life, being teased, then being shut down. But by evening, she felt calmer. As she lay down on her bed, she allowed her mind to wander. The thought came to her, my mother could have manifested anywhere, but she manifested here with me. She closed her eyes. It's bizarre, she contemplated in silence. I just know that if you could come back and start over, that you would. I know this beyond doubt. You would approach things differently. You wouldn't let somebody else tell you what to think, what to feel, and what to do. You would go from love, from your heart. I don't know how I know this. There's no proof. I just know. She pulled up the covers. I love you, Mother.
Oh, wow. It's got, okay, so Leslie has an alternate ending for us. Let's comment on this one and then go to the alternate ending. And what fun to have this speculative aspect in the mother-daughter wound story that's as old as time. And I underlined things as I was going through. So first, let's ask for a quick take or understanding or impressions that Dorothy and Kathleen had, and then I'll launch into my questions for the week.
Well, I liked the ending because it kind of brought the story together.
Mhm.
It's and she came there because you were performing well, and she wanted to recognize it. And her white flag was really just forgive me. And so the ending sort of brings the story together for me.
Yeah. Who is the white flag forgiving?
Pardon?
Who is the white flag forgiving?
Well, I guess when I maybe asking for her daughter's forgiveness,
Yeah,
like
I think it's more,
recognizing, I guess, is maybe
That's what I
not
think it
forgiving.
was.
It's the
Yeah,
word.
surrendering.
That's the word.
Yeah.
surrender. Yeah.
It's a different verb.
Yeah. So Kathleen, what is your take, your impression?
I kind of lost concentration on the story, but
Kathleen had read this story before, I think.
Oh, okay.
I
Was I-
did. I don't remember.
Oh, I thought you did. Well, I put it I posted it in
Oh, the creative writing.
Kelly's.
Oh, okay.
So maybe you didn't read it. I don't know.
Oh gosh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fair because we sometimes like we can't track things, you know, there are times when we can't track things and there are times when we can and we're that and you might be really excited about Monica and song tonight. So that's all good.
No.
I think, okay, so thank you for that, Kathleen, for your honesty. Because that is feedback too, so where do you think it lost you? What do you remember from the beginning? Or were you just totally in your own world? Which happens, I do that. Oh, I want to turn this. any memories or any moments
Well,
from?
she sensed that her mother was near, that
Mhm,
her mother, and she played the piano,
mhm,
beautiful, played it beautifully, and her mother loved it. And
mhm,
then she started thinking about all the disagreements that they had,
mhm.
and why her mother was this way or that way. And
So you got a lot more than you thought.
yeah,
That's most of
More than you
it.
thought.
yeah, yeah.
Pardon me while I just plug in my mouse, otherwise it's gonna die and I won't be able to do anything. So hang on a second. And
And then the illness, that the Alzheimer's, where you just forget everything.
yeah,
It's really hard on those who love you.
yes.
When I didn't think of her having Alzheimer's when she came back from the dead.
Uh-huh.
No,
She was healed.
see, now this is the thing too, Leslie, is that when you're writing in this alter world or whatever, then you sometimes need to make up rules, and I think you've made them up really well. I also write from dead people's point of view sometimes, and I make up my own rules as I go along. And so yeah, she could be totally healed then, and then also bring back healing. And I love that the daughter gets to have her yelling fits and stuff that she might not have been able to do alive. I also absolutely adore the little epiphany that she manifested for me, not for the older sisters, not for the other sister, the younger one, the one that, might have been the favorite. She manifested for me, thus object of all of my parents' arguments, which was another really great line too, is like, wow. So this story, again, leaves some gaps, but it doesn't leave any essential gaps unanswered, just leaves those gaps like, okay, she's what are they arguing about? Oh, that's really interesting. But yes, okay, when we know in family dysfunction and family constellation, there's a child that has this role and a child that has this role. So we don't need all of that information to tie that together, that this is the child that, probably provided the parents some relief from each other's stress, because that child, the Kana,
Hannah.
Kana
Hannah.
had provided what is in psychology circles called a third leg, the third leg of stabilizing the parents, so that when they couldn't deal with their own stuff, then that child becomes the stabilizing, where they argue over that child, then they don't have to look at their stuff. The same way, if you ever serve in a volunteer board and it's a dysfunctional volunteer board, it's because everybody gets to, be absolutely rotten there, because they don't have to sleep with you, eat with you, and go on holidays with you. So they get to take out their nonsense and get their buttons pushed and push other people's buttons like crazy in a board meeting. But then they get to go home to their spouses and their families at night and get some of that tension relief. So children, and that's what I was taking, this psychological aspect. The magazine that I told you about that takes speculative writing, this is another piece that you could submit to them come fall when they're open, because there's that speculative aspect, but yet it's a human interest story, and it's common because of the mother-daughter wound, and yet it's uncommon with the way that you've set it up. And the white flag on the chair that she'd been sitting on, I thought was a perfect touch. So now let's go ask some of the questions that we're going to be asking tonight. In that, was there maybe too much in here? For sure, it's a long paragraph. So I underlined this word because I thought that might have been a good spot for a break, a paragraph break.
Oh.
It's long, but there is a lot of information in these first two parts. The thing that, yes, this definitely brings us into like, oh, somebody can't eat. And instantly you have my attention because I'm a foodie, because I don't believe that anybody has an inability to eat, because I will eat whatever so that's my personal take. But you set up the tension, regardless whether people are foodies or not, or crazy like me or not. It's like, okay, profuse crying. And I love that you did profuse crying, because I can't tell you how many authors I've worked with that say crying our eyes out. Physically, you cannot cry your eyes out. You cannot cry your eyes out of your skull. Thank you very much. And another thing, it's so overused. It's like, no, don't do it. Don't do it. So profuse crying and an inability to eat, pairing those two, we instantly know that somebody, because we don't know the gender until the next word, her stomach was in knots as she let her mind ponder the conundrums. And conundrums, I love the word conundrums. I really do. Didn't we talk about using common words in uncommon ways? But I think conundrum should be made common again. If somebody doesn't know what it is, they're going to know it from the context. Pondering conundrums. What do we ponder? We ponder troubling things. We ponder problems. We ponder puzzles. And so conundrums, and because con is connected to confusion, I think they'll draw the links and they'll make sense of that, even if they don't know or don't love the word as much as I do. And it's really a good historic word too, because if you notice that words that end in OUS or US or UM and UMS are Latin, roots in Latin. And I love that my University Latin is coming to, fruition and that kind of thing, but it's great. And I also love the reincarnation aspect of the story, that maybe I was your sister, or maybe this, I can't remember the exact, but I thought that was really good too, because I do believe that we travel in pair groups and family groups to continue healing each other. Like if your mother's abusive this time, the last lifetime, you might have been the mother, and this is your chance to be able to forgive yourself and your mother type thing. So I loved that aspect too. And yet you did it so subtly and not in your face wise that a Christian audience, or like the one man that I lived with one time when I said I believe in reincarnation, he said, I can't believe that you believe in such hogwash. You're too intelligent for that. So even people that have this, strong opinion in that way, by the way, he's no longer in my life. It's like, no, you don't get to talk to me like that. Took me a while to wake up. But even those people will still be able to read this and not get, knocked off the story, because it was subtle, it was quick, and it was a maybe. It was kind of the way that animals can get away with saying things offensive about humans to a human reading audience when it's the animal's voice, because we're not going to take offense to that. And when you go maybe, it's like, well, we don't think you're, you might not be committed to that either as the author, but maybe the person and the character is, and then it's a fiction character. So no offense. Now, can we see, is there anything in here that could come out? And this, I've never talked about this. One of my favorite ways to actually edit sometimes when I don't want to lose any content, but I know it's too long and I don't want to lose any of the context or anything there, is I'll edit by word count. I'll go and I'll take this paragraph and I will do this. See the words there. The words are 139 words, and let's display word count while typing. So 139 words. And I will see if I can take it down to 120 without losing anything. And you often can. Profuse crying and an inability to eat was her reality. No, I'm not so committed to that. But her stomach, her knotted up stomach, her stomach nodded and instead of let her mind, as her mind pondered the conundrums. So then you're losing some little verbs. So there's merit to that. Now, if we wanted to experiment with that right now, let's try that. Her stomach knotted, and then we're losing the was and the in. Wait a minute. As she pondered. Because you've got the original, right? This is not your own.
Yeah, I have it.
Okay, yeah, so pondered the conundrums. I love you, mother. And then this, I think, is lovely, though you've passed to another dimension. Yeah. To this day, I'm not sure. And then I don't know if we need this, because we know we're talking in present tense, the day began. I'm not sure what our connection is. When I think of the hell you went through, when I think of your hellish childhood,
Not her. Okay.
or her life or whatever, your hellish life, but yeah, so then we're losing some of your context to do that. But when I think of your hellish life, your hellish marriage, if it was more the marriage.
Yeah, it was more the marriage.
Yeah, because the dad abused her, the hellish marriage. The beatings, because then you could be precise, because abuse could be both. The beatings, And then this was beautiful, and you know, then you could be specific. Was it dad? And dad whittling away, whittling away. Not the at, but like somebody carving you, like he was, that would be strong, like he was carving you into a fragile splinter. Like, and oh, what about whittling away? Intent, there's a stronger verb, on carving you into a fragile splinter. My heart opens up. And now I think we know that the to you is implied to you. I can't imagine going through that. And then when I think of your hellish marriage, so I can't imagine, staying, and then that's implied, staying, because staying in a marriage, too good to leave, too bad to stay. I can't imagine staying for any reason. But when I remember your perplexing demands, your fickle guidance, the ridiculous choices that you offered me, keeping me always at an emotional loss, I don't know what I feel. And that is, I think, this is the really strong sentence in this paragraph. It's really super powerful, that one. It seemed as though you were quietly angry, and then seemed, the while the seemed started, that's, and I think it would benefit from, I remember you, because then it's two words, I remember you. And then it's more, then we trust the reader more too, because it seemed, I mean, the author, we'll trust the author more. I remember you quietly angry and vengeful towards me, but it was always with no provocation, devoid of explanation. So we probably didn't take out that many words, but let's see. And did we lose any context? So Control-Shift-C. 139, so yeah, 21 words. We took out 21 words. So I just wanted to show you that all, and thank you, Leslie, for letting me use your story as an example to do that, is that we can just challenge ourselves to edit by word count and see if taking out some words, if we're still saying what we want to say. You might want to put some of the things back if hellish marriage doesn't cover what you were implying by what you went through.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll do that. So, but I don't think the first or the second paragraph could be taken out at all. And we're going to
Okay.
look at your last paragraph when we get there. Now, the environment, we don't really get a setting until we get the chair, because we don't know where she's at here. We know it's a day. So day is the timing, not necessarily a setting. And then we get a bunch of past reflection, which belongs. You use verbs really well, ruffled. And this was like, you made more sense with your touch of senility and even schizophrenia. Strange disease, that Alzheimer's. And this was beautifully poignant. How did you keep all of that to yourself for so many decades? It took injury to make you human. Well, yeah, hats off to you, Leslie. Hats off. One too many blows to the head from Daddy, like a cartoon.
That was powerful.
It was, wasn't it? With this full spectrum of
Yes.
expression, or maybe a trade. You know, what you couldn't do before, now you could, and what you could do before, now you couldn't. That was amazing too. And then back to the very personal. I feel a strange love for you. And then that little bit of, maybe you were my older sister. I pledge my love and devotion. These were the thoughts that went through Kenna's mind as she played through the difficult, no impossible passage. So now we've got a bit of a setting. She's playing a piano. We don't know where the piano is, but she's practicing. Whenever she practiced, she thought of her mother and the impossible dynamics that pushed her out the other side into the world. Broken, of course. What else could she be? Great question. And then we get to see the hellish childhood that she went through, not just the hellish marriage of the mother. And though she was considered to be the favorite, and I didn't see her as the favorite, but this is where, like, she's the central theme of every argument. And this is where kids in a dysfunctional relationship will often, feel loved when there's all that drama and the blow-ups happening, and walking on eggshells when it's the honeymoon period, waiting for the next blow-up. it's, yeah, she's the star of the tension, kind of in the arguments. And during the blow up, they at least know, because I think they did a psychology experiment with this loud gong. They put all these people in the room, and when they banged it at regular intervals, it didn't cause people stress. But when they banged it at intermittent
Unpredictable.
intervals without a clock or without anything to time it, their stress levels went way up. And this is like what it's like with a blow up in a family is they don't know when the next blow up is going to happen. So there's more stress in the honeymoon period than what there is during the blow up. So you've got all these psychological aspects in your story that are there, written between the lines for, and exactly, again, I believe what a short story should be doing is having that. And did you want to spell it with a Y? Because it is with an I.
I know it's a personal thing.
It's a personal thing.
Isn't, but I can go either way, but I always spell it that way because I connect siblings with Sybil, the famous
Oh,
Sybil who had multiple personalities,
wow.
and somehow that makes that more real to me.
Ah,
I don't know. It was insane. To me, it was insane.
thank you for sharing that. So I'm going to put a comment here that I suggest that you somehow bring that in, because the siblings, like, you could do that, mocking tone or older sisters, and, to let the reader in somewhere know that Sybil, and siblings is, is the way that you think about them. And that, but you wouldn't say that's why I spell that. It's just that you just clue in the reader somewhere that, Laura, yeah, think about it. I'm pretty sure you could do it, but just the way you think about siblings, because that's a cool element to add in there somehow.
Mm,
Yeah, that things had to be even worse. Did you ever read the book When the Rabbit Howls?
no.
A woman that had many multiple personalities, incredibly abused as a child, and and my sister and I absolutely adored the book for how it made sense of some of our family, and it also made sense for Virginia. She's struggled with some of that, and the Sybil makes me think of multiple personalities, and yeah, I think there's some really cool things you could do with that. And um, yeah, the instrument, connecting them inseparably with the infinite, doing the impossible was an everyday task for Kana. Like, wow, what is that? Enough passage practice now. It's time for the test. She spoke too well to nobody. And the surge of confidence, the striking harmonies. So it's like here she's got this, it's like we've got tension, 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 and some explanation of the past. And now we have some really positive aspects. It's almost like we get a break from the tension. But then the applause. Ah, yes. A break from the tension before the mother shows up. And then it's great that you give us this timing. You left this life over 16 years ago. This gives a whole lot more meaning that, the mother-child wound is still so very present for Canna, because you haven't given us a big time span, but you start her off in crying inability to eat, that she's this much affected still by the relationship with the mother. And now it's 16. Now we find out that the mother's dead for 16 years. And yeah, I mean, like Dr. James Dobson had said, you can pack up, all your possessions and move 3 countries away, but you cannot stop all of your family baggage from being, in that bag too. It finds its way in and it goes with you anywhere, and over time too. So that was, and this, the cheeky kind of dialogue that she has with the apparition is more empowering than the younger child kind of. So that was cool. It's really cool that she's like cheeky here, and it's a ghost that we don't know how much. This is where you make your own rules. The ghost is powerless other than she can manifest herself there, and Kenna has got the power in this incarnation of herself as an adult child to this mother that shows up. So that worked for me for sure. And any questions? Countless. Oh, yes. And then this talking to you is like talking into the abyss, not an abyss, but the abyss,
A
the
bit.
abyss of all abysses of the world, right?
All of
Yeah,
it.
that was cool. And then I love the white flag. And so if we're looking at the environment, where is Kenna playing the piano? Was it her own piano? Does she get a chance to rehearse at a rehearsal hall? And what chair is there behind that the mother's on? Because we don't have much of the setting or the environment. But do we need it? Can the environment become part of the story? And I think the chair might be able to do that, because my mother had a superstition: if she wanted to play solitaire, the card game you play by yourself, just in case no one knows, she could not have any chairs at the table, because then a ghost would prevent her from winning. So maybe I know my mother was superstitions are great. I have a dictionary of superstitions. It's really fun to use some of those for writing. And you can look up these random things with a great index. So with the chair that the mother appears on, maybe that's also, it could be something about Ken inviting, or imagining an audience, that kind of thing. But if it's not just a single chair, but if she gets to practice in the concert hall, then it could be
Like a
person
lots
in
of
the
chairs.
audience. The mother is like, in the audience all alone, right? The
Mm.
wild applause. So think whether or not bringing in more setting or describing the piano, like, does she talk about what kind of piano? Because there's, like, we know the name Steinway. I don't play piano. I play guitar by ear. I don't know much about music, but Steinway is such a common name. And we like to name things. If you're going to drink whiskey, make it 5-star, make it Tennessee, make it, Jack Beam or something, be specific in the type of cigarettes people smoke, or cigars, and that. And sometimes when people have visitations from the other side, there's actually a scent or something in the air.
Mm.
So you could use smell to add to the setting, and that nobody's supposed to smoke in here, the concert hall, maybe the mothers, so but will it benefit your story if you bring in setting? That's the question. Will it benefit your set? Will it benefit the story to bring in setting? Do we need it? I'm not sure it does need it. This, of course, was beautiful. It's bizarre. And then this ending, I love you, mother. I'm very curious about your other ending. Who wants to see Leslie's other ending?
It's pretty short, I will say that. We'll get to
Okay,
it
so
later.
let's alternate ending. Okay, now let's see if we can make this bigger. There. Okay, go for it.
As she looked straight ahead at the music, reveling silently in her accomplishment, she heard strange sounds coming from behind. Startled, she turned around. Mother? Hannah wasn't sure that this was her mother. The face was wavy, unfocused, sagging like a faulty test you might see on a TV. She also had, seemingly, vines of ivy growing out of her head and drooping down to embrace her body, a death-like adornment. As Hannah absorbed the vision with her mind, she felt a cold tickle on her hands. She looked down and gasped. The ivy was reaching out to her. Fearfully, she ran toward the farthest wall, but the ivy followed. She frenetically dashed around in random directions, staying out of reach of this menace. Then she froze. Don't do it to me! Don't touch me! Get out of here! Mother, why must you shadow my every move? With that, Hannah found a knife and she grabbed the ivy and severed it as close to her mother's image as possible. The ivy made a high-pitched scream, ear-splitting, horrific. Then she closed her eyes and let the words pour out. Talking to you was always like talking into the abyss. My words just dissipate into nothing. I think there's a little more. Is that all? Yeah. Hannah opened her eyes, wanting to glare straight into her mother's, but her mother was not there. She had disappeared. In her place was a flag, a white flag that hung gracefully from a wooden pole. It was small enough to balance on the wooden chair where her mother had been sitting. "You can't surrender now," she thundered. "I need answers, a lot of answers." Her voice was shrieking, uncontrolled. "Stop doing this to me!" She felt as though this was a continuation of the dynamics they had in life, being teased, then frightened, then shut out. But by evening, she felt calmer. As she lay down on her bed, she allowed her mind to wander. The thought came to her, "My mother could have manifested anywhere, but she manifested here with me." Then she sat up. "I do love you, Mother. I do."
Oh, okay. So this one is got the
Horror aspect.
yeah, the horror aspect, which would fit more with the on-spec, but still it's got some of the same strength of this other one. And I liked that alternate ending with "my mother could have manifested anywhere" closer to the ending. Here, I think it falls in the sequence, but in this alternate one, you had it closer to the ending, I think there.
Yeah.
Yeah. My mother could have manifested anywhere, but she manifested here with me. That I think goes, flows more naturally into the "I do love you, Mother, I do."
Mm.
I like the first ending
Mm,
best. It just kind of brought things together without, sometimes I feel, if you get too much detail, you lose the message.
mhm. Yeah. What if you combine the strength of what I consider her last ones? Oh, what if this, because as she lay down in her bed, she allowed her mind to wander, and then it's bizarre. She contemplated in silence. "I just know that if you could come back and start over, that you would. I know this beyond doubt. You would approach things differently. You wouldn't let somebody else tell you what to think, what to feel, and what to do. You would go from love, from your heart. I don't know how I know this. There's no proof. I just know." She pulled up the covers. And then this, um, the thought, and as she pulled up the covers, the thought came to her. "My mother could have manifested anywhere, but she manifested here with me. She closed her eyes. I love you, Mother."
Mm.
I think that might, so that's like, instead of like cutting the last paragraph, we just kind of reordered them, and try it out that way for a while for yourself to see what feels right. The order that you had, this order, because I think what I liked in the second ending, the alternate ending, is that this great line was closer to the ending.
Mm.
And I think it flowed in and made the "I love you, Mother" a little more believable. But you had it
Mm.
different at the end of this one. Then she set up, "I do," and then it's like she's convincing herself and the mother so the mother can maybe rest in peace. So that way that you ended it there, and because we've got her laying down, she pulled the covers up. And then it's like when she sits up, it's more like an epiphany, like she hasn't really been able to admit this to herself before or to the ghost.
Yeah.
So there's that. And that's the merit in playing around with endings. It was great you did alternate endings, because you've got some strengths in the alternate ending, each one of them. And I think this might bring the two strengths together in just a little bit of reordering. So the final questions for you as you look at this: does it benefit? Does it need anything more about the environment? Maybe just to know where she's practicing so that we can see it more clearly, because you've given us a wooden chair that the mother sits on, but I don't know what kind of floor. Where is the wooden chair? Is it hovering or, and of course it's probably not hovering, but just to give us the setting of where it is. And also that's where the setting could actually do well, because it's often said, like, children who are abused are sometimes more resilient than those who have had a perfect life, and they actually can be more successful sometimes because they just will push back. They have that resilience. And to say that she had a Steinway and give us a scene or just a little bit of a setting of her own place, that it's in her own house, that would tell us that she's made it, that she's a concert pianist that's quite acclaimed, just even that little bit. And that's where the setting could really then benefit you, and benefit the story, is to show that, that sure, this might be practice for her, but she's practicing on her very own elite piano in a large concert, room in her own house type thing. If that suits you, if that suits the relationship. So that's how setting an environment might benefit.
Okay. I
Okay.
hadn't thought of those things.
I-
Yeah. I hadn't thought of those things. So yeah,
Yeah.
that would make it, she's a success, and she concertizes, and you might assume that she tours around the world, and so yeah, okay, so that would, I
Mhm.
get that. Okay, let me think about that.
Yeah, no, there could be airplane tickets on the piano. There could be like just little objects can add a whole lot without a whole sentence, without a whole exposition. So, Dorothy, you had a thought.
My thought was, I had the setting, like to me, like there's her aloneness with the piano and the mother and I could just see it. And I think too much more in the setting would kind of maybe drown it a bit. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Uh-huh. And that's why the question is, would the setting benefit or take away? So,
Because I had a picture of this person, being alone, being like the stomach and she is just concentrating herself on what she's doing and her mother and being in the moment.
mhm.
So I didn't, and so the chair was perfect. Like it was a wooden chair, and it was sort of a grayish color, and
Yeah.
just like,
It was next to,
Well, she's talking to apparitions. She's yelling at an apparition.
Yeah.
And so that's where the setting would help me, because you could really fool around with the reader's minds and make the setting almost like an insane asylum where she's playing, like an imaginary keyboard, imaginary piano. I mean, that would destroy the story, but that's why I think I needed the setting, is that I wanted to know that this piano and her ability was real. Now, you don't have to, because do I enjoy the story the way it is without having the setting? Absolutely, because there are many things in here that I enjoyed. As you saw that I was underlining, I could have underlined more things. So the story is complete, but those are other things to think about if you wanted to give it more. That might mean too much for readers like Dorothy. But we need to move on now to see, there's so much fun we could stay with you. I don't think we could ever do this class with more than 5. Just get on a roll, and it's great. So yeah, we probably could do it with more than 5 if we limited everybody to like only 400 words or something for each section. And then where would be the fun in that? We'd have less stories.
Yeah.
All right. So Dorothy, let's go with you. Did you put something in?
who, me?
Yes.
Yes, I did. And
Oh.
it's there because I saw it when it's in bold print and it's big, and I didn't actually mean it to be in bold print. I only meant the title to be in bold print.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And I just, I sort of just revised something. I think my problem with writing right now is I feel constrained.
Okay, so what is some keywords that you put in your piece?
Go down.
Well, okay, so Dorothy. Last 3.
It's in big print.
4, but this is Leslie's story here. We're already past yours. So can you just tell me 2 words that are in your story?
It's the heading is the tree and me.
A tree and me? Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
A tree and me. Tree and me.
The tree in me.
In me. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That would help. That would explain that. Tree in me. Oh, there we go. Okay. All right. So let's go with you now.
I've never really thought of a tree being in me, but I know it's there. It's not tall and grand like the ones in the redwood forests. Perhaps it's more like a maple. At least that's how I think it started. Its roots nestling deep in the fertile soil of my grandpa's farm in southern Ontario. Then I moved away, first to Dundas, a town at the base of the Hamilton Mountain. There were plenty of trees there, large maples and oak that changed colors in the fall and fell to the ground. In the fall, I used to wade through those bright leaves on my way to and from school. There were also evergreen trees that stayed green all year long. Then I moved to the drier and flat prairies of southern Saskatchewan. My tree was still in me. Our world had changed. We still had the same big sun. The soil and weather were very different. So were the trees around us. They weren't big and tall with colorful leaves. They didn't have large, low branches where you could plant a swing. Sure, there were some big ones in town and on the occasional farm. Heck, in Saskatchewan, I think the grain fields on our farm grew taller than most of the trees. Like me, my tree had to change to adapt to our new surroundings. Since it didn't have great colored leaves and couldn't grow much taller, my tree snuggled down to adapt to having less rain, more snow, and an endless open blue sky. I moved again and again and again and traveled. Still, my tree was in me, observing and adapting to the changes, growing and developing with me. Its roots strengthened and its trunk grew taller as its branches spread out to connect us to the world. Like my tree, I gained strength and reached out to embrace the world. Together, we developed and blossomed. We also weathered some tough times when the winds blew too strongly and we were frightened by the rain and the thunder. We learned to adapt and adjust, to pick up new ideas from other trees or scenes. We have our favorites. We developed a rhythm. Sometimes we budded and blossomed, creating berries and nuts for people and small animals. Sometimes not. We've been flexible and open and provided shade and places to snuggle or hide. Sometimes we even provide a place for nests or homes. We share music and art. I have tons of pictures of trees, and even though I've never been good at drawing, I've always liked to draw trees. Although my tree and I have never produced any large, vibrant flowers, fruits, or cones, we appreciate other trees that do. We're highly adaptable and have an awesome blossom. My tree has given me stability, the strength to stand alone or with others. It holds my treasured memories and helps me move forward with new challenges. It also carries with it every year the hope of spring. It is, I guess, my tree of life.
Mm-hmm. My favorite pieces of jewelry is the tree of life.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah, it is beautiful. It's
Yeah.
a very consistent piece with consistently strong with the repetition of the tree and me
Yeah.
and different environments and for those for Leslie and Kathleen from California, Saskatchewan is known as the Canadian province where you could watch your dog run away for 3 days. It's so flat and
Oh,
so flat and without forest and without obstruction, and that's the joke.
okay.
And then the trees that are there are stubby because the wind is just harsh on them. When you have nothing to break the wind is
Yeah.
Mhm. So yeah, this is, and I think I've never really thought of a tree being in me, but I know it's there. That is bringing us right into your certainty. Um, the tree in me. I would suggest you do something different for a title, but thinking on it like, a second glance, because you have that as a repeating line, it bears, witness to staying there and serving you as a title. I might be more curious if it wasn't, there's the title, if you had something else, the moving or there was something about the trees. Trees adapt, because that's about you too. So that, and then definitely the first couple of lines, they need to stay because that sets you up. It sets up your story. It sets up your rhythm. It sets up your repeating concepts that you make different each time. And it's more like a maple. At least that's how I think it started. Yeah, because you started in Ontario where there's the sugar bush and the maple syrup tapping. Isn't it time that they tap it now? Is it this time of the year that they tap it?
Yes, actually, my sister and brother-in-law tap it. And then my, well, they're getting older, so I'm not sure if they were doing it this year. But also one of my nephews down in New Brunswick
Oh,
was tapping maples.
awesome. Awesome. Yeah. And mentioning the places, the names of the place, and Hamilton, Ontario, but there's a Hamilton Mountain. I did not know that. Hamilton Mountain. The trees, so there's lots of trees there. I think when you grow up with trees, they feed our soul to have them around, and we feel starved when we don't have them. I think just the same way that people grow up by the ocean, they have a hard time moving away from the ocean or being in a place that's dry or arid and that. So this, with that in mind, took me to a sense of pain and loss. But yet you give me hope. My tree is still in me. It's still in me. Our world changed. And then recognizing. And so this for me is like gratitude. Our world changed, but we still had the same big sun. The soil and weather were very different. And you know what Mark Twain says about the word very? Is every time you're tempted to use the word very, put in damn, different, swearing, and your editor will take it out and the piece will be perfect. So avoid the adverb very. It's not, very rarely does, see, now I said very rarely, but it rarely does anything well for your writing that isn't already there. The soil and weather were different, and that is powerful in itself. So were the trees around us. And then the way you describe them, because there's loss here, the poignant loss. They weren't big and tall. They didn't have the colorful leaves because they have more coniferous trees there. They didn't have large, low branches where you could plant a swing. Plant was an interesting verb choice there, Dorothy, where you could, launch a swing, where you could, tether a swing, but plant was an interesting verb choice. I underline that just to ask you if that was deliberate. Is that how you see, you plan to swing on a low branch? Guess you could plant it with a rope. Yeah. And this, a sense of humor, after the sadness. And this is almost like, when you're in conversation or whatever, you will jump from something serious to and make light. You have a great sense of humor. So that was interesting to see that in your writing, to go from this poignant, sad part to the grain fields on our farm grew taller than most of the trees. And the strength that you have here, my tree had to adapt. I changed to adapt. That is really about our lifetime too. If we have that core strength in us, that trunk, that tree trunk, that core strength of us, we can adapt and we can, make the best of each new surroundings. But when we move about, I have not moved that often in my life. But when we move about, I certainly haven't moved and lived in any other province other than Alberta. So that aspect of having to change to adapt to our new surroundings is something that I think a lot of people will identify with. That, and moving is one of the top stresses. So my tree had to change, and since it didn't have great colored leaves and couldn't grow much taller, my tree snuggled down to adapt to having less rain, more snow. The resilience of the narrator. This is like the narrator. The resilience is coming through strong and clear. I want to know this person, this narrator, for that strength. I moved again and again and again and traveled. speaks to the repetition and, what's changing other than, different trees, different seasons for the tree. And then you've got it, observing and adapting to changes, growing and developing within me. And this is when I think, a woman comes into her own in her 50s, late 40s at the earliest, and 50s, we come into our own and we do strengthen. And, the tree that's in all of us grows stronger the more we can connect to those inner truths that we have. And you say that, you tell that I've gained strength and reached out to embrace the world. Together we develop and blossom. So earlier there was no blossoms or leaves, and now there is the blossoming, the weather. I think there's a song by Tanya Tucker, Strong Enough to Bend, and it's about the tree, that having, the trees are flexible. They can bend a lot. They're a good lesson and a good analogy though, but they won't bend over backwards. And when they bend too far, or a storm, blows them over, if they have any weak spots, then they will break. And strong enough to bend is a whole different meaning. This is a beautiful piece, Dorothy. That's, and then, yeah, the nest. Look at that. Here's a nest for song, Kathleen. Nests. There's a nest. Sometimes we even provide a place for nests, places for nests or homes. We share music and art. Yeah. I joke around saying I never met a tree I didn't like. And when I travel, I take pictures of trees almost more than anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah. We are highly adaptable and had some awesome blossoms. We've had some awesome springtimes and awesome love affairs, awesome this, awesome that. The tree is this metaphor for your life, if I'm reading it correctly or intuiting it correctly. And it's beautiful. And it holds. A tree's given me stability. Treasured memories. New challenges. And even after the challenges, every year there's the hope of spring, eternal. I guess my tree of life. Yeah. So just looking at whether we would take out the first bit or the last bit, not for the first bit, no. And the last bit, it also carries with it every year the hope of spring. I'm going to invite you to look and see if you could do that without the cliche, the hope of spring. It always also carries with it every year the promise of green returning or something, because the hope of spring is kind of cliche, and I think it takes away from some of the magic of your piece. And then I guess it is my tree of life. I wonder if you could do that more metaphorically instead of just telling us, because the tree, like metaphorically, the tree within you breathes, the tree within you, grows taller than, no, that doesn't work, but something that would take it out of the realm of telling and would show us that
Seasons.
it is, your foundation, your root, the way that you reach for the sky. It's all of that.
The seasons of life.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Seasons.
It leads me through the seasons of my life. Ooh, yeah. I hate that when I, say something that I really, really like, and then I think that I do that, ooh, and I prejudice you because it's your piece. You decide.
Exactly.
If you like the idea, I'll put it over here.
I'm sorry, I didn't.
Did. Okay. So that, and then the environment is there, and many environments, all the different places you lived, and especially Saskatchewan, I'd say was maybe the strongest environment, the one that got the most play, the most definition. Then imagine, you know, this is a piece that could really benefit from imagining 10 years from now. The narrator, where is the narrator 10 years from now? That if you imagine that and play around with that in your journal pages, that might actually give you a different ending too. Who knows? You don't know until you try. Imagine. I don't like that. Google, you can make everything big and imagine, but the comments. Does that tell me I need new glasses? Ha. Imagine.
That, and I had trouble hearing you again there.
Imagine.
You had trouble hearing me?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Some I can hear you, but some of your words don't come. Could be my hearing aids, but they don't kind of come
Okay.
clearly.
Yeah. Oh, sorry about that. I hope it's clear in the recording. Imagine the narrator. And I could close your ears. I'm going to move the microphone closer. That might help. Makes noise when you move it. Okay, maybe that might help.
Yes, that makes it clear.
Okay, so imagine the narrator as like yourself. You're the narrator yourself. 10 years in the future. And what is your tree doing?
I'll be under it.
That would be a humorous way to end it. All right. Anything to add, Kathleen or Leslie?
It is very beautiful. I agree. I only found cliche at the very end. That bothered me a little bit, but everything else, I breathed with it, and you caught me right away at the beginning. I never thought I was a tree. What did you say? But I have a tree in me, and that caught my attention right away.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, of a tree being in me, but I know it's there.
Yeah.
I don't know. I felt a tree in me as soon as I read that. I thought,
Yeah.
oh yeah, a tree. And I looked down, there's the tree. I thought that was quite profound.
Mm-hmm.
And then you extended the metaphor.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought it just made me feel very beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, it did, didn't it? That, you
Yeah.
know, because women, if we look in the mirror, we're the hardest on ourselves than anyone else. We'd never speak to a friend the way we speak to ourselves. But this tree, the beauty of the tree, it did something similar to me too. And I just think trees are so majestic and wonderful. So yeah, I loved it for all of that and more. Beautifully done, beautifully written.
And I noticed right away when you said planted a swing, and I figured you did it on purpose and said
Oh,
planted a swing. I just assumed, and I thought I never heard that. I didn't know if it was common in Canada to say it that way,
yeah.
but I liked that. I planted a swing.
You know,
Just
now, thank you,
really
Leslie.
stable.
Yeah, thank you, Leslie, for mentioning that, because now I really like the verb planted because it goes along with, you know, trees. And there's a really cool song from one of my favorite artists about the child plants a tree and then the mother watches it grow and the son grow. And then, you know, there's a sadness as the tree is, you know, taller than him, but then he's taller than the tree and he leaves. And then it's the grandchild say, guess what, Gran, I planted a tree today, and it starts all over again. It's beautiful. So like tree metaphors, you can own me. You got tree metaphors in it. I'm there. I'm reading. Yeah. All right, beautifully done. We'll take a breath and we'll see what Kathleen wants to work on tonight, what she's got for us and her homework. So make this smaller so I can get my side thing again. And Kathleen, you are there. And we've got all of that. Class 4, class. Okay, so somewhere, where am I going for yours tonight? This is class 4. We've done that. Where are we
That
working?
was the last, no, it wasn't. Because I rewrote
Yeah.
it and simplified it.
Mm-hmm.
They were,
Oh, and hers is not there either. Maybe you have to it's weird. Maybe you have to search it like you
I
did.
think I have to search it. So tell me what are
okay, this week I I couldn't really concentrate on rewriting the story or doing the storyboard, because I have a major speech to do on Friday.
Ooh,
and so,
okay.
a Toastmaster speech.
Right, right.
But I did have a couple ideas as far as the sketches go.
Okay,
If we can get back to the beginning of the rewrite, where it was really simple, where I really simplified it last week.
okay.
Maybe, let's see, maybe I can upload it if I
Well,
get a copy of it.
that's okay. I'm gonna go back to Kathleen here then. This is
It would
here.
have been, all right, that was the 16th. That's the
Older version.
yeah,
Okay.
we worked with
Go on
that.
here. Yeah,
And then I believe
I think we're getting there because I think I saw a different way that we had it here where you were doing something different as they reach the Hollywood Hills. I have come to say goodbye now for now. Money.
okay, that's
Several
20.
months later, thinking about how much she misses Annie.
All right, so keep going down,
Okay.
down. Ah, okay, yeah, that's the scenes. That's the illustration scenes, but keep going down.
Okay. Going down.
Okay. Okay, it'll have to be after this,
Okay, the class 16
after all the green and white. Right. Okay.
here. This was where we kind of ended last week, and I put in that.
Yeah, that's where we ended, and I was supposed to do the storyboard, but I
That's okay.
I
Just
haven't
tell us
had
then
a
what.
chance to do that, but let's go back to
Go back.
the beginning of it. No, the beginning of last week. There we go.
The beginning of last week.
Yeah. Hello.
Yeah. Okay. So
Hello,
you
my
tell us
friend.
what you want from us tonight then. Okay.
All right.
Mm.
Okay, my opening image, or the book cover, is a woman sitting under a great arbor,
Mhm.
holding a beautiful bouquet of trumpeters, flowers, and the hummingbird has come to suckle the nectar from them, and she's very, very peaceful. I envision her to be Monica, Monica with the hummingbird. It's Hummer. It's not song, it's Hummer, paying her a visit to see how she's doing. And she's so peaceful holding this vine that he just pays her a visit, and it's called The Visit. So from that painting kind of says it all in the end. But in the beginning, how I changed it, I have a couple images. Hello, Grandma. Oh, hello. Grandma Annie died, and I'm so sad. I will not see her again. Okay, drinking a cup of love. So I have a little sketch this is the littles. So I made this little sketch.
Oh.
You can see it, but it's a cup.
Cup and a heart.
Cup and hearts, and the hearts are dancing around like drinking a cup of love.
Oh, pretty. Yeah.
So it can be illustrated really pretty, really beautiful. There's a heart in the actual liquid, and so it's repeating. It's repeating, and then it's flowing. Okay.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the next image was soon after she died. A colorful hummingbird comes to dance on a stream of water I was giving to Mom's Roses.
Oh, I can
It's
see that.
another little picture of a hummingbird dancing on a stream of water,
Uh-huh.
roses, and the roses are being watered.
Oh, that makes it come alive for me to see the stream of water and the flowers and the hummingbird and the,
Hummingbird dancing on the stream.
yes. Mm-hmm.
So, pretty simple, but can be illustrated
Yeah.
really, really pretty. And then he is fluttering his wings.
Kind of like a biblical concept too of walking on water, the hummingbirds dancing on the water.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. A lot can be
Yeah.
read on it. It all depends on what the person's perspective is.
Yes, exactly.
You could go really deep, and since it's for littles who are going to be
Mhm.
reading it to adults, they can
Mhm.
expand their
Yeah,
vision, you know.
absolutely.
But we pretty much walk through this first section until we get to the end, and then we end up back at the very end. Here's the story of my trip,
Mm-hmm.
and how I met Grandma Annie, the fireside assisted living home at the very end.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're going to go back to, let's see, I think when I first inserted the story on February what was it? The very first session.
February 16th. Was it?
Or the 9th.
It was the 9th. Oh, the very first one. That's right. The 9th was our free master class, and then our first class was the 16th. So, yeah.
Okay, so from here, we'll go back there.
Oh, okay.
Go back there in the writing because we've got a new introduction.
Okay, thank you. The new introduction then. So just to go over that again for ourselves is the hummingbird, the cup of love. And she's sad that her grandma Annie's died. Cup
Yeah.
of love, and then the hummer shows up and with the message. Beautiful. Okay. So now
Now we're at the fireside.
mm-hmm.
All the way back up to my first
February 9th.
yeah, February 9th.
Okay, let's go back to February 9th then. Perfect. Okay.
It's about 20 pages or so.
February 9th should be over here. I guess I'll find it. I'll just scroll and we'll find it that way. So much for my Google plan, Google Doc plan. I'll make things a little differently next time. Mr. Fireside replies. New additions. New paragraph. Oh, here we are. This is class. I think this was the first, like.
Yeah, that's it. That was the very first upload.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I need to find out a good place to continue from all of this beginning that was taking so long. There was no activity to draw the children or hold the children in.
Right.
Or anybody else. So we need to find a good place to start with.
Well, what we have, oops, whoops. What did I just do here? I just hit the return or something and I didn't need to do that. Okay. Tisk. I need to go back up again.
Oh
now.
boy.
Wow, that's bad on my part. Okay, I got to put the cursor there and not hit return. That's what I did. Didn't put the cursor there when we had the spot. We'll get back there really quick. Woo! Scrolling. Ah, there's a lot of words. It's good. It's all good. Okay. Oh, we're close. Very close. Okay.
All
So
right, great.
put the cursor there and now. So the
So it ends with I want to tell you the story about
how I met Grandma Annie.
how I met Grandma Annie.
So then we have all the beginning that we did, and then it's how I met.
Yeah,
Grandma.
but I think we need to eliminate a lot of this and get down to
Mm-hmm.
get down to
Mm-hmm.
forget all that concealed in the nest and all that. We need to get down to the part of the story where Song is talking to Andy.
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
Eliminate all of this. I'll keep
Mhm.
going down
Yes. Mm-hmm.
all the way.
Miss Annie's humming
Annie,
captures the attention of Mr. Fireside. Is that where
yeah, maybe there. I'm just thinking that maybe we could.
How I Met Grandma Annie? Your grandma, so then it would be your grandma Annie's humming captures the attention. So
Mhm.
it would be because the hummingbird is talking to Monica. So it's How I Met Grandma Annie. Your grandma Annie's humming captured my attention. So then it's
Yeah.
active, it captured my attention. My attention, attention. Oh no, because it's the child, my dad's attention, right? My dad's attention.
Yeah, my
Dad's attention. Mr. Fireside.
Mr. Firestein.
So he woos, he whizzed
Whizzes.
over.
Yeah, right. He whizzes over.
He whizzed over to the window to introduce himself. Suspended in her vision and humming a joyful tune. And then it can be active present dialogue. Good morning, gracious lady. Caretaker Trudy, name me Mr. Fireside. And then does Trudy play a valid part in the child's story?
No, actually, I think we can eliminate even more.
Yeah.
Yeah, even more of it. I think we can even eliminate the naming ceremony and all of that.
My missus and I make this courtyard garden our home every spring. What's your name? Our home. What's your name? New paragraph. My name is Mrs. Miller, but you may call me Miss Annie if you wish. They moved me to this nice room so I can look at this wonderful garden. So this could be done with less. My name is Mrs. Miller. And then do we need to know Miller at any point? Because she could just say, you may call me Annie.
That's good. Yeah, eliminate that.
Yeah, you may call me Annie, Miss Annie. And the you may, it's like, it's if the wish, you may call me Miss Annie. But wish is a good child's word too. So I'm not sure about taking that out. They moved me to this nice room. This is maybe too much information for the little.
Yeah,
Too much. I love, the garden lifts my spirits. That would probably be enough of that. So the garden lifts my spirits.
Yeah.
And garden. Oh, how it lifts my spirits. I love flowers and trees. And then the freshness in the air, that's something more adult. We get the point out of, we adults till children go out and get fresh air and go, what? No.
Right.
Yeah, I love flowers and trees. And then Mr. Fireside concurs, big word for children, and dialogue tags are not necessarily needed with the children, because as long as it's clear who's speaking and it's usually done with pictures or it's beside them. That's exactly why we make this our home each season. Oh, which is also what you did. So here, my missus and I make this our home every spring, this courtyard, our home every spring. And then garden is mentioned. So let's call this one courtyard, our home. And then here we got every spring. That's exactly why we return each year. That would be shorter. And then there's that element of math and calendars for children too. We return each. We've got spring up there. So when is spring in this setting that you're talking about? March, April, May, give or take.
Yes.
So, there's a beautiful E.E. Cummings poem about April and spring. Oh, if you've never read it.
Oh, okay.
If you've never read it, I need to read it to you or do a
E.E. Cummings, E.E. Cummings.
Yeah, E.E. Cummings, a poem about April and spring. It's absolutely stunning.
Okay.
It's a fun one to read aloud.
All right.
Yeah, it says, darling, darling, kiss me now. Oh, it's spring or something. Yeah, I can't remember all of it, but yeah. So that's exactly why we return each April. Peaceful, quiet, and the hedge branches.
I think we can eliminate all of this.
Yeah, we
And
could say we can hide because children love the game hide and seek. We can hide here. We can hide. And then safety, keep our family safe. Keep our family safe. So you maybe could keep that, but maybe not, decide later. And then everything we need to exist, and oh, the trumpeter. Yeah. That would be a really neat picture to see them drinking from the trumpeter flowers, right?
Yes.
So that could actually just be an image. So
Mhm.
image drinking from the flowers, and then the food. We can hide, lots to eat. Would you say hummingbirds eat or drink? Let's eat or drink. Let's share.
I think drink, they drink, they don't eat.
Yeah, no, they
They
don't.
use that long snout
The long
bill to
tail.
suck up liquids.
Yep, can hide, find lots to drink, keep our family safe, and keep our family safe. Image them drinking.
Yeah, well,
Maybe. I mean, you can just
uh-huh.
because it would be neat to see like their favorite flowers or whatever their colors. Trumpeter
Yeah.
vine that grows up, and so that could be an image. Let's put that there. That, and then use the soft cotton vine. Oh, that vent from the laundry room. That is a neat touch because birds do that, but that's so sad because of the toxic stuff that people use in their laundry.
Oh,
Yeah. And seniors home.
are we? Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Would we?
so that's all, take that, all that dialogue can be taken care of with a painted image.
Yeah, it sure can. So that's all image then. And
Okay.
then, because yeah, there can be another image. And the way the hummingbirds flit, there could be a little image that is something part of the text, and then another little image and another little image. You can have 3 images on a page that has a plain background. I've seen that done in children's books, so that you can do all these different images, which gives children a lot of things to point at and a lot of things for the parents to ask or the reader to ask. So this could be image 2. Also, we collect that our nest for comfort.
I have a hummingbird's nest, an abandoned one,
Oh,
and they went to a factory up the street that made rag items.
wow.
And they brought back all these soft cotton fibers, and they wove it into the nest.
Wow.
It's just like silk inside. Absolutely beautiful. They brought the silk threads and wove them in.
Wow, incredible. Okay. It's true. God supplies for the birds of the field. So Bible verse, and then you just confirmed it. That's we don't need that.
Nope.
No, that. A new paragraph. The
I
bird
think we
bath.
can eliminate all
That's an image. That can be an image, the bird bath, or eliminate. Image or eliminate.
right.
Yeah.
And then
And then Trudy, the groundkeeper, doesn't oh yeah, and then but do they need the nectar when they have the flowers, or is that where Grandma Annie gets to watch them?
I think they drink from both.
Yeah, so there's bird feeder. Maybe they don't know who keeps the feeder, oh yeah, an image, or we don't know. So an image, or they don't know who keeps it full.
Okay.
Supplement to our diet. Yeah. You just make me want to go to the mountains again with my orange thing and my bear spray and my orange flower and my hat, see if I can get buzzed by another hummingbird.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
so cool. So, so cool. Well, and I think that hummingbirds just make such a great character for your story too, because they're so teeny.
Yes, yes.
We ask for. So that we're fatter than most, that probably isn't needed. Each day the residents come out in the yard. They seem to stand
Okay,
tall.
I want to eliminate all of that.
Okay. And then Miss Annie's eyes brighten and she says, most certainly I would like to know. Would you
Oh,
know when they're
okay,
hatched? We want
yeah.
that.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. Oh yeah, that's cute. The missus and I are expecting our babies before the end of the day. Oof. Fast workers.
Yeah.
Yeah, how long does it take for their incubation period, I wonder?
I don't know.
Mm. There's some science aspects you could put in for the middles. It would give me something to look forward to with great anticipation. And so that's more adult language. I think Miss Annie's eyes brighten, and you could do that with an image. And then the next image, her appearing in the nest, would show all that joy that she has to do that. So could replace this text with images.
Okay.
Less text. That.
But I really want to get to the point where Annie is giving Song the message that she wants him to take to Monica.
Right.
And so all that,
yeah, so breakfast
the
hour.
birth, the naming ceremony, the people, residents of the home. I think we can eliminate all that until we get down to the conversation they have about this message. And just before she dies, she tells Song, please deliver this message.
Yeah. Susie, Boone, Ollie, getting along, Boone and I. That. Then the Trudy bit comes out. They have a blessing. We're taking that out. New paragraph. So now she's in the room by herself. Is this rose
Room
painted
by
baby blue?
herself. And I described the room and all that, but
that could probably be done all with an image.
Yeah, her sitting at the window in her room, in her rocking chair, talking to Song.
Yes.
That could be all one image.
Yeah, it certainly can.
Yes.
So yeah, definitely. So cool. So cool.
Right. And then
okay, so I'll leave it up to you to change. Okay, so Mrs. Fireside smiles with calm expectation. The eggs are beginning to hatch. And so he goes and announces then. So maybe from there, they, the birds, not the eggs, clarify. They both sat on the edge of the nest as they had done many times before to behold the precious miracle of the moment. So this is all or adult, older language.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you just want to show this beautiful image of babies, like an image for that, the baby's struggle. And this one thing could actually be text, because that adds that science element about how you can't help a baby chick out, or you can't help a caterpillar out of a cocoon, because then they don't have the strength to survive. They have to work at that. So maybe keep this. As text and image, because there's two eggs in the nest, and so one can be more out and the other one can be just starting to get out of the egg. Yeah, I like this internal strength from within their souls. Oh, that's very poetic. I wonder if you can keep some of that. Because some of that. Emerge victorious in the tender loving care of Mr. and Mrs. Fireside. Eggshells split with a tiny cracking sound, a break pokes through. And you've got that a little bit up here, saving the
Right.
you're just hinting at it after their babies struggle. As they watch their babies struggle through the semi-soft membrane of the shell after first cracking it and toiling their way out by some internal strength from their souls called birth, they take their first breath and cry out as they emerge victorious in the tender loving care of Mr. and Mrs. Fireset. Long sentence.
Long sentence. That's why
Yeah.
my the man that the writer that writes for Disney, he simplified that sentence. He said the egg shell split with a tiny cracking
Yeah,
sound.
beautiful.
About
Let's
beak
check that out.
pokes through. Then
Mm.
the baby struggle passes semi-soft membrane.
Okay, so there. Eggshell split with a tiny crackling sound. A beak pokes through. Then the babies struggle past the semi-soft membrane. They leap for joy. Oh, that's then the babies, the parents, Mr. and Mrs.
Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Fireside.
Mr. and Mrs. Fireside.
Leap for
Leap
joy.
joy. Yes, flapping their wings as they air dance. Oh, air dance. Air dance. Flapping their wings as they air dance with jubilation at the arrival of their sons. Oh, they're both boys.
Oh, their son. Oh, now let's just say they named them Hummer and Song.
Mhm.
They named them
sons.
Hummer and Song.
Okay.
That's all right. So now eliminate all of this naming ceremony and God and blessing ceremony that they have.
Mm-hmm.
We can eliminate all that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, no, wait a minute, not this. Or that is the naming stuff. Okay, so that can go. Tea time just close. To ask God's blessing and Hummer and Song. That summer, Hummer and Song grow up fast. One day, Hummer decided to fly away, see the world outside the courtyard. They would talk about everything as Annie shared many like Annie and Song spent hours together just thinking of tunes to hum. Do you want to keep that?
Yeah, we can do that.
Annie and Song spent hours together just thinking of tunes to hum. They would talk about everything as Annie shared many of her life stories with him. Okay, they would talk about everything. And then Song, oh, this, oh yeah. Song would grows very wise as the summer days grow long, but he notices that Annie is growing weaker every day, needing more strength. See, our longest day is the first day of summer. Is this the wrong order? Like Song grows very wise as the summer days shorten?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Leslie, did you have a thought?
My understanding is the longest day is in winter, but maybe you mean just for the summer.
But the longest day of darkness is winter, and the longest day of light is June.
Oh,
That's
okay.
the marking of summer, the longest day of light.
Okay.
The sun grows very wise as the summer days shorten, because that's the bird's cue to go fly south again.
Right.
But he notices that Annie is growing weaker every day, needing more rest. This is sad. But he notices. But grows very wise as the summer days shorten. But Annie, and you don't need the notice, but Annie is because then we're assuming that he's noticing. But but Annie is growing weaker. He's growing wiser and stuff, but Annie is growing weaker. Needing more rest, sleeping more, just sleeping more, because it just made me remember this pastor that was in one of my writing classes where he liked to scare his grandchildren. He thought it was good for them. And one day he's laying down for a nap and his grandchild just comes up, sneaks up and yells in his ear, Grappy! And he sits up, what? He's shocked or whatever. She goes, gotcha back.
Oh,
So
you know what
anyway,
my dad would always say, every shut eye ain't sleep. But anyway, and when people are getting close to death, they do sleep more.
yes, they do. But Annie's
Uh-huh.
every day sleeping more and more.
Sleeping more and more. Yeah.
Mm. Soberly, she explains. And so now the dialogue tags don't necessarily work for children, but she just have her start talking to Song. Well, Song, I think my time is about up. My time, let's take out the I think my time is about up.
Or my life is about a
Yeah,
Don't you
I
want
think
to
my
say
time.
time because it's for children?
Yeah.
okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
My
Okay.
time is about up. I've had a wonderful life, and I've especially enjoyed spending these last days with you. And so I've especially implies that everything before was great too. I've especially enjoyed spending these last days, my last days with you. These last days, you are a wonderful example of how the tiniest things in this world can bless so many hearts. Do we want to do that somehow? Less words.
Less words.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so tiny. Yeah, maybe she can be amazed. You amaze me with your tiny strength, your tiny, huge heart, tiny heart. No, what was that? The tiniest thing can bless so many. You amaze me with your tiny, you amaze me, so tiny and yet bless so many. So tiny and bless so many. That's less words. It's not as poetic as what you had. So
Right. Okay.
keep in mind your original.
Okay.
But before I close my eyes for the last time, I want you to make me a promise. Promise me. Promise me.
Promise me.
Promise me. Hmm. And then we don't need that for the littles. Promise me. My granddaughter in Los Angeles. My granddaughter in Los Angeles. Take her
I
to
want you to deliver this message to my granddaughter in Los Angeles.
Oh, okay, yeah. My granddaughter in Los Angeles. That's a good way to do it. Okay, did that just do something weird? Okay, wait a minute. Okay, I want you to deliver this message to my granddaughter in Los Angeles. Hide it deep in your heart. And then not want to, but deliver this. Please, because manners are important to children. Please deliver this message to my granddaughter in Los Angeles. Hide it deep in your heart and remember all it means to me. Oh, ow. I'm gonna cry. She then, we don't hear it. She then whispered it to Song. He kept it in his heart, vowing to deliver this message no matter what he would have to endure along the way. However, love endures all things, and Song loved Annie with an everlasting love. As the summer drew to a close, so too did Annie's eyes grow dim, and soon Annie transcends life with a song in her heart. Now, animal instinct dictates that birds fly south for the winter. Pack your bags, Song. We're leaving this beautiful place in Michigan tonight, and we're flying to Florida where it's warm and sunny. We're flying to warm and sunny Florida. Warm and sunny. Sunny Florida.
Mhm.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Okay, we'll come back next spring, his father shouts exuberantly. But Song doesn't tell his parents what he needs to do. Oh. And then now we don't need Trudy. I
No.
think it's just enough to have Song not telling his parents and his father being, okay, we're flying to Florida, but no. And this is on there. Yeah. So they they flew from housetop to housetop. Don't they fly without brakes? Hummingbirds? It's incredible. I think some hummingbirds or some birds definitely fly over the ocean without any brakes.
Mhm.
Hmm.
But song, and I think it might be a hummingbird even. It's an astronomical fact. Eating small insects along the way. They found
What?
plenty of
Let me
new-
go back. Let's go back. We're going a little bit too fast. But Song doesn't tell his parents what he needs to do.
Mhm.
Okay, they fly.
Fly from housetop to house and tree to tree, eating small insects along the way. There's plenty of nectar from late blooming flowers.
We can eliminate all that.
Mm-hmm. Song's parents had made this journey several times, so Papa knew the way. And the
Yeah.
compass, eliminate that.
No, keep that
Mhm.
until there. Eliminate all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm. So
Sounds-
Papa knew the way. Eternal compass kept him on course. New paragraph. By the time they reached the Michigan state line, Song finally got up a nerve to tell him about Annie's last request. Mm-hmm. Yes. Confidence or trepidation. Trepidation is a big word for a little.
Yeah, yeah. He put that there. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, they're opposite, so I think
And they're opposite. Yes.
which would you like it to be?
Yeah.
With
Confidence or
confidence
fear. Well, he finally got up enough nerve to tell him. And so he said was shaky confidence or deep confidence that he's committed now to that.
Yeah, with
Um,
just
Maybe
enough
wavering confidence.
wavering.
he said with just enough confidence.
Just enough confidence. Mom and Dad, just before Annie died, I promised her I would deliver a message to her granddaughter in California. I made a promise. We know what the promise is.
Right.
Yeah, I made a promise. I figured that if I told you before now, you would have admonished me not to go. No, I don't think we need that. But you know, I'm your son. You know, I'm your son. I think that might still belong. You know, I'm your son with all the courage and determination you both gave me. Do this one last thing for Annie. I've learned how to take care of myself by watching what you do. I'll fly low, catch enough to eat, and rest when the sun goes down. Song's father and mother looked at each other with dismay, and we thought Hummer was the strongest. Then they looked at Song and realized there was no convincing him to abstain from this task, so they reluctantly gave him their blessings. Then his father says, "You'll have to be very careful, Song, because I didn't teach you about the dangers of flying alone. You won't have the support of our extra eyes to see potential dangers, the skills to avoid predators, and guidance to make the right choices throughout your journey." Yeah. So let's, instead of you have to be very careful, Song, I didn't teach you, because then there's more tension. I didn't teach you about the dangers of flying alone.
Okay. Mhm.
You won't have our extra eyes for spotting danger. For spying danger, spotting danger, spotting danger.
Or I.
Eyes for spotting danger.
Mm-hmm. I like that for spotting dangers.
Yeah, dangers, and let's take out potential. The
Mhm.
skills to avoid predators and guidance to make the right choices. And journeys implied because he's going on a journey.
Mhm. To make the right choices.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
But because you've learned well this far, we have words of wisdom to get you there and back safe to us in Michigan. It's going to be a long flight over the winter months. So now, because he doesn't have then in his cellular memory to go south to Florida, but he can meet his parents in Michigan again, there's an opening for you to do another story the next year or whatever that, Song is going to feel like maybe checking in on Monica. Oh, interesting.
Uh-huh.
Just potential for sequels. I'm always looking.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, you won't have our extra eyes for spotting day, the skill to avoid predators, and guidance to make the right choices. But because you've learned well thus far, because you have learned well, Yeah, that's just fancy language
Uh-huh.
for children. We have words of wisdom. We have wise words. Wise words.
Mhm.
Um,
To get you there and back.
yeah, to get you there and back. To meet us back up again in Michigan. That implies the there and back.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, to meet back up in Michigan. Meet in Michigan. All right. Wow. This is scary here where it's going to be a long flight over the winter months. You'll need to wing south as soon as possible. Once you reach Chicago, a hawkish wind brings the bitter cold off the Great Lake, Michigan. So here's the geography in the book too. You could have part of your diagram in the back is can have a map of and showing,
The
Hummers.
route.
Yeah, the Route 66.
Yeah.
You must
Uh-huh.
immediately fly south before it comes while heading towards St. Louis, Missouri. Okay, Song listens intently as his father instructs him further. And we know
Is
he's,
that too big a word for littles?
which
Is
one?
it-
Intensely?
Song listens intently.
I don't think you even need the intensely. Song listens because that
Okay.
implies he's paying attention. He listens.
Uh-huh. Song listens.
And we do know that he was a little scared earlier, so we can assume that.
Right.
Along the way, you'll meet some friends and some foes, weather storms and blazing sun, smoke and fire, fire in California, and only God knows what else might happen. So I don't want you to think it will be easy. Remember all we've taught you, son, and God will take care of you. And only God knows what else might happen. And this is like it's all of this is telling Song it's not going to be easy. Are you sure? So yeah, remember all we've taught you, son, and God will take care of you. New paragraphs. They fly over Michigan state line. Didn't we have this? The Michigan state line. By the time they reach the Michigan state line, so okay, reach and then fly over. As they fly over the Michigan state line, a chorus of her state birds, the red-breasted robin, sings, "Get your kicks on Route 66. If you ever plan to motor west, travel my way. Take the highway that is best. Get your kicks on Route 66. It winds from Chicago to LA, more than 2,000 miles all the way. Get your kicks on Route 66." These are copyrighted lyrics, so you'll have to check about the permission or using less of them.
Is that true?
Yes, because if we and get your kicks on Route 66 because it's a title or part of a title, you can't copyright that. You can't plagiarize a title. You can actually use titles again and again if you want. I mean, it wouldn't benefit you that much.
But this is lyrics.
It's a common song, and so people will be able to sing some of the rest of it to themselves or know that, it's the geography, and you can do that in a picture in the back of the book. But get your kicks on Route 66. Excuse me, 25 words, less than 25 words, and you can quote without permission. But I don't know if that applies to song lyrics. I have to check with my copyright expert. I have a copyright expert, Barbara Ingracia, in the States, and she's pretty cool. So I'll check with Barbara about song lyrics, copyright. Barbara, song, copyright. I know that music is a little bit more stiff and serious about that. Song for copyright permission. Okay. So that has to be checked. So keep that highlighted. Song peels away from Mr. and Mrs. Fireside just past the border heading west toward Chicago while they continue their course south to Florida. It didn't take long for Song to make it to Chicago, where he met Flicks, a fire red cardinal, the Illinois state bird, and a backyard bird bath. Flicks surmised that Song was traveling, so he offered to escort him to the border of Illinois, saying, "Hey, little fella, I'm an expert when it comes to winging it alone. Where are you headed?" Song was relieved. His first encounter with a fellow bird was friendly, so he responded, "I'm headed for California," Song said. "Wow, there must be something mighty powerful inside you to take on such an ambitious journey. Tell you what, I'll be happy to watch over you as you traverse my great state. Help see to it you pass over safely. I have a lot of respect around these parts, so I'll have no problem at all. The only thing I'm worried about are those hateful bluebirds in Missouri. Song asks, I hope you don't mind if I call you Uncle Flick. Flick replies. Oh, Flick replies? No, no, no. Song asks, I hope you don't. Oh, this is just where I need a paragraph. I hope you don't mind if I call you Uncle Flick. And then this is new speaker.
Right.
That's in my chart too. So that. Flick replies, your parents taught us well, Song inquires. So Flick replies,
Your
oh, I
parents
see.
taught you well.
Break, right. This one there, that's Flick, and then this is Song. And
Inquire.
yeah. Why are they so hateful, Uncle Flick? New paragraph. Flick tells his story.
Why are they so hateful, Uncle Flick?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, comma. We need a comma there. Mhm. New paragraph. Flick tells his story. We've been feuding since the beginning of time.
Feuding.
Feuding?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. What did I say? Feuding?
I thought you said feeding or something.
Feuding. Oh, well, maybe I did. We've been feuding since the beginning of time. They wanted to take over. That would be two sentences. This is two equal clauses or conflicts. They wanted to take over our lakeside territory, but the Cardinals stood their ground and defeated them. Now, every time they get a chance at the border, they try to pluck a red feather from a cardinal and stick it in their nest as a trophy. That's so cool. They're not going to like the fact that I'm helping you, but you're so quick, they'll never be able to catch you. Song replies, you're right. I do have speed on my side. Uncle Flick continues. Now you go through St. Louis, Joplin, Missouri. You'll see lots of hawthorn flowers to satisfy your need for nectar. The people are real nice, but you just can't tell them anything. You have to show them everything. That's about all I can tell you because I haven't traveled much past the state line. Oh my goodness. Uncle Flick dashes across
Uncle
the
Flick.
line. Yeah, this is a lot. Yeah, so this is where the crux of the story is, all of the travel too.
Yeah, all of his encounters with different birds.
Oh, bluebird's trying to pluck his feathers. Oh, ow.
But
Ow.
they
So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how when you do storyboard, it'd be interesting to see how many pages you have. And the average pages for a children's little book is between 24 and 30, I believe. Might have to double check.
okay.
Yeah, page 24. And that's then a longer one for the slightly older littles, or that your images are going to carry the younger ones through and they'll just maybe turn the page and they won't let mom or dad. I remember reading to kids, my nieces and nephews, and if the words were too long on a page, they just wanted to turn it. And I wanted to read every word.
Right.
Turn the page.
Exactly.
So yeah, so it'd be good to gather a few little pre-readers for your book too. Mhm. Well, this brings us to about the end here.
Yeah, it brings us to the end, but after Flick, then he encounters let me see, Flick in Chicago, then Illinois, and then he meets a pigeon, an old pigeon named Doc who helps him.
Oh.
And then he meets a road runner that challenges him for a race.
Mhm.
And there's several other birds with personalities that help him or guide him along the way. And even at the end, a big condor, a California condor, saves his life. Saves his life when he was falling out of the sky from a forest fire.
Oh no.
It carries him up over into fresh air.
Oh, here's Doc.
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful. All right. So basically we've given you the foundation, Kathleen, for cutting and doing that. And it's going to be awesome. And I did send you or give you the link for that agent that's looking for children's books, right?
Uh-huh.
Good.
I think you did
Yeah.
in one of your posts,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
one of your emails.
if you can't find it, I can find it for you again. That's not a problem.
Okay,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
I can always ask you, call you and ask you.
All right, for sure. You can always do that. I want to ask each of you just a couple of questions. I want to put things on speaker view here so that maybe I can ask you just a little bit so I could use those for the future times that Kelly and I are running the class. So if I asked you the question, can you repeat just part of the question and like give some space so it's easy to cut the videos? Like, so if I say, what is your name and what is the class you took? Then you'd say, my name is Kathleen. You'd give a pause. My name's Kathleen and I have just finished the Reluctant Rewriter class. And I'm sure as a speaker and a Toastmaster, you could probably do 2 questions at once. And so then say my top takeaway. Okay, go for it, Kathleen. You're on screen right now.
Oh, okay. My name is Kathleen Wilson, and I have just completed the Rewriters Workshop with Rusty Leahy, and I've had a wonderful time. I am rewriting a children's story with talking birds and a journey, and it's just been wonderful the way she's helped me focus in on the littles and simplifying it enough so they really understand and have a good time when they're reading my book. So I thank you very much. I have great direction now, great focus, and I'm excited to keep going. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kathleen. That's awesome. Awesome. All right, I'm going to pin Leslie.
Okay.
Pin Leslie. All right, Leslie, same questions. You want to just go for it?
Okay. So my name is Leslie Sharp, and I'm in the Reluctant Rewriter class with Rusty LaHaye. Is that, I'm not sure how to say it. Is that correct? And it's been fascinating for me, very, very helpful. She takes the time to understand the uniqueness and the qualities of the work. I've seen her do that with every member of the class. And so she's very careful not to take away from anything. And it's even just the first class helped me make some very subtle but important improvements in my story that now reads a bit more impactfully and more easily. So she is the teacher editor of my choice. So I'm hoping to take more classes with Rusty.
Thank you, Leslie. That's awesome. I appreciate that so very much. All right, Dorothy, your turn. How do you feel about doing
Okay.
She's writing.
But have we been editing? Is that what we've been doing?
that? We've been editing, learning about self-editing. Yes.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to make sure that we learned something else. My name is Dorothy Sunday, and I have just finished the Reluctant Writer course with Rusty Leahy. She introduced me to friendly, positive, and effective editing and encouraged me to begin writing again. Rusty was pleasant to deal with. She had great ideas and freely shared her resources. And I'll be taking more courses or workshops with Rusty.
Thank you, Dorothy. That's awesome. I appreciate all of you very much. And I just want to say that I have enjoyed your stories so much. You all have very different voices, different genres, and it has been amazing to have you as the first people that I have done this specific course with. I've been teaching for over a decade, various things, but this one was a leap for me to to do this with, you know, writing that I hadn't seen before, and I'm just coming to it fresh. And it was so much fun to challenge myself that way and to be there for you, and to, you know, to make good use of all the stuff that's in here and all this brainstorming ability that I love having and sharing with writers. So thank you very much for journeying with me through the Reluctant Rewriter. That was awesome to have you all. And hi, Anne, we miss you.
Miss you, Anne.
Oh my.
Yeah, so so I'll keep in touch. And if Dorothy, you were thinking about coming to the State Treat this weekend, and
Coming to the workshop this weekend.
yeah, the whole weekend.
I
think.
registered for it.
Okay, all right, good.
Yeah, I did a like online with like through the
Okay, I'll find it then. I probably just haven't seen it yet, so I'll see that and then confirm. And then Kathleen and Leslie, the woman that's speaking this weekend, this is the first time I'm opening it up if people just wanted to come just to hear the speaker. She's talking about self-publishing. And Leslie, she has done in her book, Keep It As a Bastard, she has done short stories that are fiction. She's then blended some memoir with her fiction. She has put recipes in the book. She's got images, she's got poetry that then is all kind of memoirish like poetry, but she's done an amazing job of mixing all these different genres, and it's fun. And she's going to talk about her writing process, her creative process, the editing, the self-publishing, and short stories. I mean, that's where she kind of has that similarity with you. Kathleen, there's been no children's writers in the Stay Treats as of yet. I've worked more with children's writers in an individual basis with Oriane with her Tommy and Tooth Town, these the little tooth fairies. It was really fun. And with the grandma that helps the kid through the bullying and has all the kids in the book as goat kids instead of them kids, because then, you know, there's no child that's going to identify and think, you know, I'm a bully or be picked on by other kids. Like, she was very crafty the way she does that. So I've enjoyed working with children's authors one-on-one. And that might be something that I might look at doing, children's book workshops, because I have such a passion for really good children's books. And so I might consider doing a workshop just for children's authors, because I have.
I will take that.
Yeah, okay. I'll think about that. And then Kelly's also offering, we talked about it today, and the dates are April 26th to do a morning pages again, a free 5 days morning pages. And Dorothy, you weren't in that one last time. It's really awesome. It'll be at noon, our Mountain Standard Time in Edmonton here, April 26th. And that's a Tuesday. So go Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Then people get to practice their morning pages on their own over Saturday, Sunday, Monday. And then the following Tuesday, which is May 3rd, I think, we have a wrap up where people come back together to share their experiences. So we'll be doing that. That's a free session for that. And then Kelly's got her improv classes coming up. And I need to add to the newsletter some of the things I'm offering that she's saying. Kathleen, a question?
No, I was gonna say, when I took that morning pages workshop last time, I haven't missed a day of writing since then.
Wow. I'm going to tell Kelly that. She'll be so pleased. That's awesome.
Every morning, just consistently every morning.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So is it like a 1 or 2 hour?
It's 1 hour.
Get together, 1 hour?
They'll go a
1 hour.
little longer, like some of them will go longer and we'll stay longer with people. We always end it at the top of the hour so that we respect people's time, but people can stay longer and we answer some more questions, or some of the dialogue and conversation goes a bit longer. So plan for a little bit extra time on the other end of it. But if you only had the hour, that's totally fine. So that's one of the things that's happening for sure. Then we're deciding on the dates to do the Reluctant Rewriter again, because I've still got more tips and things to bring to that as well. And I am actually taking part of tomorrow off, so I might not get the last final handout to you this week, because then I'm doing the Stay Treat this weekend. But I am actually taking tomorrow afternoon off and going to the Home and Garden Show, Edmonton Home and Garden Show.
Very good.
And I have a decorating question to ask you guys.
Okay, ask away.
I want to change the vanity in my bathroom, and it was previously built in. So my space is 64, so we, get a 60-inch thing. The problem is they're too wide, they're too deep. So my handyman has suggested that I take off the bathroom door and I use a barn door.
Oh, I love barn doors.
Yeah, but for the bathroom?
Yeah, I love barn doors. I mean, really, a door doesn't stop any of the sounds anyway. A barn door is not going to be any different. And you can latch a barn door. You can have a latch for a barn door.
And it would have sort of frosted glass. It would be white with
Yeah, I think that would be just fine. And then it'll fit. It'll fit.
Yeah.
My group yesterday said, "Rrr." My daughter goes, well, Ed, I said, well, Ed can go home to use his bathroom. Just lives across the street. I said, you got one at your house. You got a bathroom downstairs. What's your problem?
Yeah, I think that'll be good. Good space saver. Good.
Oh, that's funny. Oh,
Les-
that's funny.
Leslie, just a moment. Leslie, I did see the passing.
Oh, you
were
saw
so
it.
excited about that movie. The passing, about a Black woman passing for a white woman in the Harlem Renaissance period.
Wasn't it amazing?
Oh, it was amazing. But I got one even better for you, Leslie.
What?
I just saw it. It's called The Outfit.
Oh, are
Okay.
you talking about
I didn't.
movies?
Yeah.
That movie, yeah.
I didn't see that one.
Oh
What is it?
my
Is it
God,
Netflix?
Leslie, it is your cup of tea.
What's
For
it called?
sure, and look it up, Google it or whatever, and you'll see what it's about. But the main actor won Best Actor for Bridge of Spies.
Oh, wow.
Oh, okay.
So what's it called again?
The passing and
The
the outfit.
outfit.
The outfit.
Outfit.
Yeah.
Okay, I gotta
It's gonna
see
get
that.
you, Leslie. You have to let me know what you think.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. I'm gonna
Alright.
watch it maybe tonight, this very
Maybe
night.
it's early for you there.
Yeah, but
I just finished inventing Anna, which is
Oh
great.
yeah, people talk about that one too, for sure.
I
Well,
just
people
saw-
mentioned it at one of our
Yeah, the
other
event.
things. So
I
Yeah.
saw what I always see movies that look new to me, but they're not that new. But I just saw The Phantom Thread.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
That, wow, that
that
blew me
was-
away.
I
Blew
think
me
I can
away.
see how that one would blow you away. The Phantom Thread. I know that was a good one. All right. Well, parting is such
Thank
sweet
you.
sorrow. Thank you so much, everyone.
oh, it is. This has been wonderful and such a great help for me because, my story is pretty intense.
It is. But it's
Yeah.
got beauty. It's got absolute beauty. You've got a little bit of humor in there. You've got the funny characters that help out song. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Okay.
Well, we'll see you
Okay.
again.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Bye,
bye,
all.
everyone.
Take care. I love you.
Love you all. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye.